Welcome to Dad's Talk.
We are two
lifelong friends.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a man during labour?
Why, yes I have.
Well, we're here to tell you all about it and the different experiences we've had. One's had a natural birth and one's had a C-section. Not us, our partners.
Exactly.
So how did you find out when Becky was in labour?
But first, can I just say, new sets. We're going to change sets every so often. We've got two different sets. Want to know how the people think? We're going to just carry on and see what you think.
Drop a comment. Tell us which one you prefer. We'll call this the garage, and we'll call the other one headquarters.
I like it.
Yeah. So back to the matter in hand. Becky's labour.
So with labour. Well, when we found out that she was going into labour. Right. So we found out. So my missus had the C-section. So we found out it's probably about 2 weeks before it was actually happening. So what they do is, when it comes to, our daughter was sat upside down.
So she's breached.
Breached, that's the word.
Okay.
So she was breached. And they tried all the shuffling and the moving, but they could not move her.
Uh-huh.
So what they do is they give you that option. You can either carry on with a natural birth, which can lead to some consequences depending how it goes. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Or you do a planned C-section.
Okay.
So you know your date, you know when you're going in, and there's less chance of something happening. So we thought best option is to hit the date. So we went for the date, and it was Halloween.
Ooh.
That was the date we were going for.
So it's more planned and organised, and it's not kind of a surprise. It doesn't sneak up on you and go, "Hi, I'm here."
Yeah, it was just, you plan it, you know what you're doing, on the day, that's when you're having the baby.
See, mine was completely different. So I got up, taken my other kids to school, come back, and Jessie turned to me and went, "I think my waters are broke." And I was like, "Well, how do you know?" She was like, "I put on 4 pairs of pyjama bottoms," and she sat there eating oat bowl Cocoa Pops. Oh yeah, and munching away on her Cocoa Pops. I'm like, "Well, we should probably start making our way to the hospital." So she's like, "All right." So she finished off her Cocoa Pops because that was important. Got to get that meal in. First meal of the day, breakfast. Make sure you have it. And we headed on up to.
So his dad's. You were more worried than she was.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah. I was just like, "Oh, okay." Bear in mind, it wasn't 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, "Okay, this is happening now." So yeah, that was our morning of labour starting.
Oh, so busy morning.
A busy morning, especially for me.
And what was it? You said just came in from work, or?
No, just came back from dropping the kids off at school.
Damn. So you thought it's going to be a normal day, and then all of a sudden, bam! It hits you.
Yeah, just like it's just water everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, it's a leak."
Oh,
And
so was there like mess?
No. Oh, really? What it was? She started off going for the morning wee, which most people do, and she'd finished weeing, but the noise hadn't stopped. She's like, I think my waters are broke. So she put on some pyjamas. She's like, "Oh, I'm soaking wet." So she took them off, put on another pair, and that's when I think she realised. And she just was like, "Oh, well, better have the Cocoa Pops." And off she went to make Cocoa Pops.
Go wait, still to come back.
Yeah, kept on changing her trousers. And I come back and it looked like she'd weed herself. And she's like, "Yep, this has been happening since you've gone to take the girls to school." And I was like, "Oh, interesting."
Oh, see, I asked because C-section I didn't get any of that, so that was an experience I didn't know, so I wasn't too sure how it goes really.
Yeah, so
what happened next? You were at the hospital.
Got to the hospital, went in, and they were like, "So you think you're going into labour?" We're like, "I believe so."
I hope so.
First time for me, first time for Jess, because I unfortunately missed the birth of my twins.
Ooh.
So this is why I'm talking about my son, because I missed the first 2 being born. That happened too quickly. But that's all for a different story and a different day.
Later date.
Yeah. So got in there and they're like, "Okay, have you got a pad on?" She's like, "Yeah." They had a look at the pad and they went, "Oh, we were going to send you home because it's only just started. You've come way too early, but a little baby's taking a number 2 in you. We're going to have to keep you in and keep you under observation." And we were like, "Cool." Just what you wanted to do at 11 o'clock in the morning. Just like, we're staying in hospital. So they moved us off into our own delivery room.
TV?
Yeah, of course we had TV. I think E4 is what we watched all day. I can't remember much of what we watched.
Oh, you can't beat a bit of E4. We did when we went into the hospital. As I said, on the date we go in. So when we went in, kind of along the same lines, but they didn't do the checks, the normal checks. What they do is they put you in. So you're here for a C-section. Well, yes, we are. So they go, right, we'll put you in this room. Here's your scrubs for me, and then here's your gown for Becky. And they took you in the room. Here you go. It's going to be about an hour and a half. Make yourself comfy and again. Just watch E4.
An hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Just didn't start pushing until 5 o'clock the following morning.
See, this was we got in at about, I think it was 7 o'clock, and because 7:30 we were in the operating room.
Yeah, we were there waiting. She had to get induced to get the labour.
Get the ball rolling.
Yeah, to get the labour rolling. Obviously the water broke, but there was no contraction, so she had some sort of injection to help with start the contractions.
So, like, how long before from when you were there to when she was pushing? Like, what was?
About 15 hours.
Ooh. Oh, so it was going to be a long day then.
But the contractions didn't start till 11, so from 12 hours.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. And little pains and.
Oh, so a lot of waiting.
Yeah, there was a lot of sitting around, but she couldn't eat or drink because of the injection she had to get the contractions started. She wasn't allowed to eat or drink. I brought a massive bag of food, and there was facilities for making tea.
While she couldn't eat.
While she couldn't eat, I sat and ate. You know, I ate for the both of us. You know, as dads do, you got to just make that.
She can't eat, so you've got to eat more.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
You know, we could get that circle of eating food. The consumption of food needs to carry on in the world. Just because there's a baby coming doesn't mean the consumption of food needs to drop down. So I was eating for the pair of us, and yeah, we weren't best of friends at that very moment in time. But I think she got over it when the contraction started. She wasn't paying attention to me eating.
She just wanted to know you were there.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Got to be there. Got to be there. But yeah, so I ate and I drank tea.
Nice, see? So we went, as I said, set you up, 8:30, you are there, you're ready. We wheeled her into the room with the bed, and then...
What about this?
Yeah,
did they actually do the little boogie?
Did the little wiggle boogie.
Wiggle.
Wiggled you in there.
Yeah.
Proper operating room, lights everywhere.
Oh.
And then what they did, I think they had... Not 100% sure, but about 6 to 8 people all stood around.
Alright.
And what they do is they tick off, so to make everyone feel comfortable, to make Becky feel comfortable and who's around, they go through each person individually, who they are, what their profession is, and why are they there. To the point they even went round to me and I had to go, I'm Stephen, I'm the dad.
But why were you there? Did you tell them why you were there?
I wasn't sure, and then I was like, I think being a dad, being the father, I needed to be there.
I think you still should have said, like, to experience this, or just a quick one-liner just out there, just before it all starts. I'm Stephen, I'm the dad, and I've never seen this done before.
Why are you there? I was bored outside.
Yeah, could have.
But yeah, went in there, and then they start the time. This is when they're cutting.
Oh.
But before they cut, to make sure nothing happens and she can't feel anything, you jab a big pokey stick up in her spine.
Spinal block.
Probably what it is.
Ah.
It was a lot of words I didn't know, so I just kind of knew something was getting poked.
Well, we're not doctors, that's why. We're not doctors.
Exactly.
We're just dads.
So we tell you how we know what it is.
Yeah.
So a jabby thing in the spine, and it stops all the pain from like boobs down.
Okay.
And they did a few pokes. Can you feel this? Can you feel it? Lift the leg. Can you feel this? Couldn't feel anything. There's no one out there. So.
Okay, carrying on.
So they did the jabby thing in the spine. Couldn't feel anything. And then they're like, right, we big blue screen above, so we couldn't see anything. So Becky's laid down. You've got the screen across here. I'm sat up here by the heads, talking to Becky. And they actually even let you put music on. They had Alexa in there, like, do you want some music? Well, yeah, I want some music. Anything in particular? And we thought, earlier that year, we went to see Lewis Capaldi in Glastonbury. So we were like, yeah, gotta get some Lewis Capaldi on. Chilled music, everyone loves it. So listened to some Lewis Capaldi whilst it was all happening. And then they said they were doing the cut. Becky said it felt really weird because she could feel there were hands inside, but there was no pain. It was a really weird feeling.
Yeah.
And I felt awkward, didn't know what to do, because you kind of sit there twiddling on a little stool that was like yay big. So a little music stool twiddling around, don't know what to do. And then they were like, oh, she's here. And I just saw this leg poke up from behind the screen, like sticking up like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's my baby.
Maybe a bit confusing if it was the doctors.
Found your baby.
Found your baby, then here's my leg, just take a look. But yeah, so
got the baby out, popped her on Becky's chest, and there was just this little mushy thing laid on Becky's chest.
Ah. See, my experience was just a little different. I was there, and when Jess was having her contractions, they tried it on the gas and air. She didn't like the taste of it.
Oh, see, everyone says they like gas and air.
I've not tried gas and air. I wanted to try it, but the midwife was looking at me, and I was a little bit scared of her. And she, no, I not touch gas and air. And then, what was it? The pain was quite severe, so they give her an epidural, which is the one that numbs you from like the waist.
So slightly
bumped down, I think it is.
So slightly the same jab.
Slightly the same, but this one's less effective than a spinal block. Obviously, the spinal block, I assume, that numbs you completely. This is meant to be quite a strong pain relief.
Okay.
I believe. Not completely sure.
We're not doctors.
Yeah, we're not doctors. We're dads. If you know more about spinal blocks and epidurals, feel free to leave a comment underneath.
If it was all wrong, then we're sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, they give her that. Didn't really work. It kind of like only half numbed her side, so one side was numb and the other side was intense labour pain. So she kept up with that for about another hour, and they come in. They go, "We've got another drug to give you. It's like morphine."
Ooh.
But not morphine. I don't know what it was. Didn't know the name. But they give it to her, and she could hit this button every 5 minutes, and it would just dose her up with morphine or some sort of equivalent to morphine.
So what were you doing whilst they were drugging Jess up?
I was, as I said, sat there watching tea.
Watching tea.
Watching tea. E4. There we go. No, I was drinking tea and eating, going for a wander.
And watching TV.
And watching TV.
There we go, yeah.
Till about, I don't know, I think 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
And then I went for a nap. Got to do it. I was tired. Nothing was happening except for Jess showing me that she was in a lot of pain, and
you've already gave all your support.
I didn't give all my support.
But you were there.
I went up to her and I went, "What can I do?" She went, "Nothing." I was like, "Well, what can I do?" I was like, "You're doing fine." She's like, "Thanks." Well, I did go and get her water when she needed it, and kept filling up her bottle because that's all she could drink was water.
It's kind of, guys, that's believe it or not, that's probably all you can do as a dad.
That's pretty much all you can do. Just be there. Try and say something supportive, but when they're in a lot of pain, you might get told to F off.
Get the water if it's needed.
Get the water. Especially if they're having drugs which stop them from eating and drinking, make sure that water is on top all the time. But yeah, so I did that. So I went for a nap at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, nice.
So we woken up about 5, well, no, it wasn't even 5, probably about 5:30 in the morning. I got woken up by the midwife.
Oh.
She shook my leg, and I woke up. In a very dazed state, she just turned to me and went, "We're pushing." And I turned around and went, "Pushing what?" And that was, the start of the birth. I come over, and I was shaking, because obviously I'd just woken up, and a lot's happening right now, there's pushing. I looked, and she went, "Come have a look, it's baby's crying inside." There's a head coming out of there.
So I've got to ask, before we carry on, everybody told me you shouldn't look. So I didn't, because they were doing the cut and chopping. So everyone says you shouldn't look, because even though people say it's natural, it's beautiful, there are some people that say it's not. And I was like, I've got a weak stomach, as we've seen in a previous video. So I couldn't get that image of having to look. So can we kind of don't
Not going into great
need
detail.
for detail, but
there is a lot of blood,
right.
and as I said, I was very dazed at times, so that might have helped at the time.
Right.
But it is not a horror show. It is not like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre happening down there. You can literally see your child's head.
Just this little thing.
Yeah, it's like pushing a balloon through a small gap.
Oh, right, I got you.
With a bit of red liquid.
Okay.
Without going into too much detail about it. But it is not like a bloodshed.
So if you want, you can have a look.
You can look.
It's
It
not-
is worth a look. Obviously, depending on how many children you decide to have, you might only have the one. It might be the only chance. You might as well get a look in. But as I said, it's completely natural, and it's actually kind of weird to see. It didn't make me feel sick at all. Like, I haven't got the weakest of stomachs, but it didn't make me feel even a tiny bit nauseous.
Oh, so it's just kind of like...
I was like, wow, my son's coming, my son's head's here. He's going to be here in a minute. And then,
Okay.
obviously, I got told to sit down by Jess because I was shaking like this. Obviously, just seen a head coming out of a lady's part. And I was like, okay, let's do this. She said, sit down. I was like, no, I'm fine. You okay? You okay? You okay? You okay? You okay, yeah? She's like, sit down, you're shaking. I'm like, I'm not shaking. I'm not shaking. Literally was shaking.
You probably need some of that morphine she was having.
No. Next thing you know, it was just like, right, push. But it's a weird, because obviously I would never experience pushing a baby out. But what Jess has told me is that you've got to push through your bum.
Okay.
So you don't push like...
So like a number 2 push, or...?
It's sort of like a number 2 push, but you've got to like push at certain times, and the midwife was telling her like, push now. Obviously you got... I can't remember if it's before or after the contractions. I can't remember exactly. But like she said it's not like pushing down on your stomach.
Right.
It's like you got to like push from... So women, if you're watching this and you've had a baby, please tell me if I'm correct or not. As I said, I was in a very dazed state. And
he didn't do the experience himself.
Yeah, and I'm going to put my hands up and say I have not had a baby yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I said yeah. I will not be having a baby because I am male and it's impossible for me to have a baby. But getting back to the matter at hand, it was just...
So she pushed from there?
Yeah,
right,
she kind
that's
of
where
just
we
pushed from the hip.
Okay.
So she pushed, and next you know, out come this head, and I just saw this head, and I was thinking, wow, there's a head there. And the midwife turned around, went, what are you doing with that round your neck? And I was like, panic mode. I'm like, what's going on with my son? Why has he got... What's around his neck? Oh my God, you hear horror stories. And the midwife, I can't fault her. She was just so kind. I'm like, what are you doing? Just pulled the cord off around his head, and I was like, you're going to check him out, right? And she was like, come on, one last push. Out come the baby. She wrapped him up, and he went off to do some of the tests because the second lot of morphine thing can give him complications.
Okay.
So they give him a quick check down, make sure that everything was fine.
Yeah.
He was perfectly fine. And they brought him back in.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. So do they do because you see on the films they do the
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah, they do.
But did he cry as soon as he came out? Did they have to do the slap on the ass?
No, they didn't slap his ass.
I didn't know if they do that. I just...
I don't know. I just imagine the cramp twins when they pull it out.
Yeah, well, that's what I see in my head with his gun.
No, they didn't slap his bum.
So I'm guessing he cried as soon as he came out.
Yeah.
Alright.
They didn't even leave the room with him. They literally just took him behind a curtain.
Yeah.
On his little finger.
They do like a bit of clean.
A bit of a clean, but they made sure that his chest was fine.
Oh, okay.
His heart was still beating properly. His lungs were opening, closing, filling, and he can exhale and inhale properly.
Yeah.
And then they brought him over. I think the first thing that me and Jess did was after we had taken our little cuddle time.
Yeah.
We did family photo.
Oh, nice.
And I thought, what a better time to do a Lion King pose? So I held him.
I saw that.
Like Simba.
I saw that. That was impressive. That was a good idea.
And from there on, he's just... I think he's taken that feel of just being able to rise up, and now he's just...
So that pose started him with life. That pose
started his life off, and now...
You want to start your child with a good life? Do the pose.
Do Simba.
So, they do say going home is the hardest part after your first night home. What was it like?
So we didn't go straight home. We went to Auntie Nicola's house.
Alright, you explain, what is a Auntie Nicola?
Well, Nicola is her name.
Right, yeah.
Auntie is a fake auntie, so it's a really close friend who you consider an auntie, but you don't want to confuse your child with who's an actual auntie and who's just a really close family friend.
So a lifelong friend?
So like a lifelong friend.
A lifelong friend.
So she has been a very long, lifelong friend. You might know her. She's called Nicola.
I think that's my sister.
It is your sister.
Oh.
Auntie Nicola. Hi, Auntie Nicola.
Hi.
So, yeah, we went round to Auntie Nicola's house and she had a cuddle with the newborn. And she was like, "Ooh, baby, love you. Gonna love you with all my heart."
As they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, men don't really do that. We're just like, "Ooh, baby." But, not kind of like that. Just like, there's a baby. Have your baby back.
We more or less do the lay on me, fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're the dad. If someone hands you a newborn, you can't just go, "You're a baby."
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And like, yeah. So we went round to Auntie Nicola's. She had a couple of hours worth of cuddles and all that. So then we headed on home, and then got home and my mum and my sister come over and they were like, "Oh, we want a cuddle as well." And we're like, "Fine, you can have a cuddle." Like, and they were like, "Oh, cuddle, baby." And I was just like, wow. Does every woman have to give my baby a cuddle like this? So I did it afterwards anyway, just to see what it was like. It was amazing.
Ooh, cuddles.
Oh, cuddle, baby. I didn't do that. It's more like that. But, you know, got to emphasise on these jokes. Anyway, so they come round for a bit and then we got an early night and put the baby to bed. I think we chilled for a little bit, watched some TV, then Jess went to bed, so I went to bed. I went to get into bed and I pulled the cover all up, get all cosy. I was like, "Oh yeah, bed, sleep." It's like, that's how I get.
Yeah.
I don't do baby, I do sleep. And then I was like, I can't hear anything. Flick the cover off me.
Right.
Ran across the room, put my hand on the baby. Alright, yeah, he's still. Got back into bed. Oh no! Ran across the room, hand on the baby. I was like, "Oh, it's okay." Then that happened a few times for the first few nights, and I was just like, alright. And I think Jess did it a few times. If she went up to go to the toilet, she'd go past the baby, and because you nervous parents at first, and then after a couple of days of this, you kind of just get into bed and you're like, "Yeah, I can hear breathing."
As long as you can hear that faint breathing, yeah.
Or like the rustle of a leg or an arm, like just extending for no reason. But yeah, so we did that, and then yeah, it was our first night home. What about you?
See, so our first night home. So I actually spent the first night home by myself.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
just take a minute to.
Sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was all good. Of course, it was because Becky just had a big operation. So they need to keep her in for 24 hours to make sure she's fine, baby's fine, everything's fine. So spent the first night by myself. Then in the morning, got up, got ready, went to hospital, saw Becky. Got everything together, came back home. Same again, all families coming over. Ooh, cuddles. Ooh, baby.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a full day of that. Then and then we went to bed. Decided to get Becky Chinese. First night back, favourite food. I thought treat. She's done really well. You know, proud of her. So get that treat in. So we had Chinese. Put the baby down in the Moses basket. And we thought, relax, cuddle, watch film. Becky fell asleep on me. She was obviously tired because she said the night before she was in the maternity ward. She says there are crying babies most of the night because everyone's still learning what to do. It's all new. So she said we were lucky. Autumn just was like gone for the night.
What?
Sleep.
Ran away.
Yeah, just bang, gone. No.
Started walking so early.
No, just she said as soon as she gave her some boob, she fell asleep. That was for more or less all night.
Nice.
But Becky said she couldn't sleep, so she was asleep at like 7, 8 o'clock.
Nice early night.
And thought, I'll keep watching my film. Could not focus on the film because, as you say, you know, there is this little baby in the corner, so every 10, 15 minutes, I'm getting up, going over, put my hand on. Yeah, I could feel them breathing. All right, that's fine. Or there was the odd once or twice because I was getting worried. If I kept putting my hand on her, she's going to wake up. Because they always say every movement. So every so often I just start going up, poking my head over and just go, and just waiting for
just a little,
just eyes just poke up, and I just waited for that. And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I can hear some breathing. So yeah, I didn't go to bed till like 2-3 in the morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's the panicky time. But then you got to know that everyone goes through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was our first night. First few nights were, as you say, same. Keep checking she's breathing, but then after a while you just get into the flow. As long as you hear that slight rustle or something like that, you know she's fine.
Yeah. So that is our experiences of labour and bringing home a child for the first time.
And a C-section and bringing home a child for the first time.
Just to put it out there, if you're a dad to be, if you're a mum to be, and it's your first child,
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to you all. It's not scary.
No, everyone does say it is a scary, but it's not scary. You feel like, as a dad, you will feel like you are not doing enough. You need to be doing something because you are on the sidelines. But as long as you're there for support, as long as you're there to give her water, you are doing everything you can do.
Yeah, and if there's any mums to be, you are the champions. I can't state that enough.
Yeah, I don't think I could go through.
No. What you do to bring life into this world is a miracle.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Truly is a blessing. So we thank all the mums.
Yeah, thank you.
For putting up with us dads as we stand around doing nothing as you go through all this pain, surgery or whatever it is that you've had to go through.
Yeah.
I completely support it.
Yeah, same here. Support it 100%, and yeah, we think you're fantastic.
You are, and we love you. We love you. But yeah, any dads that are to be that are nervous about the stage that's coming up, it is not as horrific as the stories tell you. People will tell you horror stories, and it's not as horrible and horrific as it is. It's actually really a beautiful thing to happen.
Yeah, and we're just throw out there as well with this channel. It is something, if you've got a question, you can check us out on our Facebook page,
our Instagram page,
or our Twitter page.
If you want to find us on Facebook, you just got to look up Dad's Talk.
Dad's Talk. Instagram, dads.talk.
And if you're going to do Twitter, it's Dad's
Talk too.
Yeah, Dad's Talk too.
We are there to answer any questions. This is what the channel's all about, answering the questions, getting our experiences out so you're not as worried for your first time.
So just leave a comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
And ring that bell.
Yeah, ring the bell if it works. If not, just keep an eye out for our next video. It'll be coming out next Friday for you guys. And that's it from us.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Cheers.